Welcome to Global Exchange Hub. I'm Barbara Sam. This is a space where we foster collaboration, inspire ideas, and promote community involvement. Today, we're diving into the world of Afrobeats, a space that transcends music across borders. We have a special artist that's joining us. Not only is he an artist, but he's a cultural ambassador. Help me welcome Cliffbado. Cliffbado, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure being here too as well.
To kick things off, tell us about your journey, where you grew up, and how that inspired your music.
Originally I was born in Imo State, Nigeria. Then I moved to Lagos. Then from Lagos, I immigrated to the United States, and that alone has really shaped my music career a lot. You know, being knowing that Nigerian is one of the pioneers of Afrobeat, and then that alone has a lot of weight on it. And that me being here today, kind of like is also part of me, trying to infuse what Nigeria has created in terms of Afrobeat.
Yeah, you mentioned that Nigeria is the pioneer of Afrobeats. I've been to Nigeria several times, actually, and it is a vibrant city. It's a bustling city. It's a cosmopolitan city. It's just so much culture, so much art. It's so many things going on, from like the street hawkers to the traffic. Like, it is a vibe, nonstop partying. You hear music all over. So
That is true. That is true.
it's a great place.
It is.
So I can understand how like that inspired your music. So talk about just the influences from your culture back in Nigeria, and then also to here in the US.
Um, you know, Being a Nigerian, that alone, like I said, has a lot of weight to it. And you know, listening to a lot of music growing up while I was in Nigeria, kind of like shaped a lot about me in terms of ranging from my sounds, from my lyrics, and everything that has to do with my music. So shout out to Nigeria for for lifting the boy up.
So at what point did music transition from like a hobby or just something you were doing, making music, to like an artist, a global artist now?
You know, when I was a kid, I didn't even know I was going to do music, to be honest.
Really?
But I've always been a lover of music. Like when I was little, when I was coming back from school, you know, going to go play around with other little kids. I've always been a lover of music. To the point, like there was a time my mom even told me, like I didn't know this. She would tell me that when I was a little kid, like every time a beat comes on, like I'm always, either I'm dancing to it or I'm
Yeah.
vibing to it. So as a little kid, I kind of like didn't know, what it was, but I was vibing to it, and I feel like that also kind of like shaped me to what I am today.
Were your parents always supportive? Because, in Nigerian culture, it's always pushed education is number one, education is key. So were they supportive then, or was it like, no, you're going to go to school to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer? Like, talk about that.
Funny enough, right? Like when I was still in Nigeria,
Hmm.
like my teachers and stuff. So my dad actually, how they have like the community, what they call like PTA meetings and stuff like
Okay.
that. My dad do not go to my meetings, but my mom actually go to my meetings. But I never knew this to the point. There was a time I didn't know that my dad knew all my teachers.
Yeah.
So
Very involved in your education, because
he
that is key.
is.
Like, education in the Nigerian household,
He,
Nigerian culture
he
is
is.
like key.
He is. So I didn't know that my dad knew all my teachers to the point like I'm a good boy. I don't misbehave. I always,
Yeah.
face my studies and stuff. So, but every time you kind of like do it, mess up a little bit, they actually go report to your parents. So one time that I did a little something, I didn't know that my dad knew my teachers at all. So that time that I actually messed up, I came back and my dad heard about it. I was like, how did that happen?
So have your parents always been supportive of your music career?
Um, I would say yes, but the African parents, they always want you to be doctor, lawyers, engineers, and all that. Well, my mom is big in education, and she always nag on me to make sure I get my education. And I feel like education is also important, and I'm glad I listened to her.
Yeah.
But I also follow my step.
Yeah.
Future my career as well.
Okay, so fast forward, you went to school, did that. Now you're an artist. You're traveling around the world.
Correct.
You just dropped this new deluxe album.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay, so talk about this new deluxe album and like the difference between this one and the original one that you released. Eyes on Your Boy.
So this album is actually dedicated for all the hustlers, all the artists, all the workers, everybody. I made this album out of love, in a space of love, and careness to everybody. So this album means a lot to me. For me to put it out there, it means a lot to me, and it's also to make a statement to the general public, to all Nigerians, to all Afrobeat lovers, to the Western world. Is this album is actually an encouragement for everybody.
What was the most rewarding part of working on the album? Like, is there anything that just like clicked for you? The creative process, like, walk us through the creative process. Some of the producers you work with, and some of the people you collaborated with.
Majority of all my producers are based back home, and most of the times, like, we communicate via WhatsApp, Skype, emails and stuff like that. And shout out to Clemsy, shout out to Edon, shout out to Lance, shout out to Geeks. Those are my actual producers that that really, really put in the work for me.
Yeah.
And shout out to V-Sticks as well. They're actually like my personal people.
So you co-produced this album half in the US and also half in Lagos, right?
That's correct.
So that's how all of this different Afrobeat sound, because it's a blend of this like African rhythm, but also some contemporary sound.
Correct.
So talk about some of the tracks, because there's a lot of excitement about this new album. Talk about it.
There is. Most especially the first track, which is the title of the album, Eyes on the Boy. I was just in a space of expressing myself. In the majority of the time, people don't get to express themselves, and I'm not the type that that on a regular that comes out to talk a lot. I don't really talk a lot. I feel like when I want to talk, I just express myself in my music, and and Caro, the track Caro is actually also one of the ones that I made. Going through struggle, going through hustling, going through everything that I went through, and that is like that track Caro is like the one that actually I feel like will actually take me there.
So you've used this album as a way to express what's going on in your life, your personal life, things, your challenges, triumphs, trials, all of those things.
That's correct.
Okay, so is there a love interest? You talk about love. This album is all about love. So is there a special lady that you have something dedicated to? Carol is a lady's name. You talking to a lady. The fans want to know. The fans want to know. So tell us.
Carol could be anybody. Carol could be a beautiful lady just like you.
Yeah.
Carol is anybody can be Carol. So
Yeah.
As long as you have the love from your heart and you have a beautiful heart, the song is dedicated to you.
Okay, ladies, that song is dedicated to you. I know a lot of the ladies going to be sliding your DM. A lot of ladies are really going to be excited about that single.
And a lot of them want to be my screensaver as well. So
screensaver. So that's another track you have on the album. Let me see your screensaver, because that's a really, really dope song. I had the opportunity to preview it, so it's a really great song.
Appreciate
Who's on your screensaver? Because we want to know. I want to know. They want to know. Who's on your screensaver?
Oh my God. You know what's funny? Who's in my screensaver? My screensaver be switching sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be today, it could be something that inspires me. Tomorrow it could be somebody, it could be, it could be my godson too as well. My screensaver change every time.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Global Exchange Hub. Joining us is Cliffbado, Afrobeats artist, talking about his latest album. Cliffbado, so you just dropped Eyes on the Boy, Deluxe Edition.
Correct.
Talk about the difference between the regular edition, the regular album, and the deluxe album.
So, you know how every artist or other artists be dropping like, well-known artists and all that, they be dropping like 10, 20, 15 songs in the album and their project and stuff. So I actually, this is my first project. I actually want my fans to actually, go through the songs, listen to the songs, and actually get to know who Big Brother is without skipping it. Because these days in time of Afrobeat or in time of music in general, like once you drop music like this, the next day they want more. So I actually wanted to like drop a short version and allow them to embrace it, to really listen to the song and get to know who Cliffbado is.
How can your fans connect with you? You perform all around the world. You have fans that listen to your music all around the world. So how do you really connect with your fans through your music?
I try as much as possible to, make sure like I have that connection with all my fans, the ones overseas, even the ones in America as well, by, giving them what they want and, kind of like, shout out to social media these days. Social media these days gives you, basically give you all the tools in the world to, to do whatever you want to do. So I feel like with social media, that helps me a lot to interact with my fans. So that's the major key.
You mentioned social media.
Right.
In today's music business, in today's world, how has social media and streaming platforms helped to expand your music and your sound?
Social media is the actual. Some people might not understand this, right? Social media is the
Yeah.
key. You can be in Dubai today. You can be in London tomorrow, and you can connect with somebody like that is in Tanzania, that is in other part of the world. So I feel like that's a great tool. So whoever came up with that that tool, shout out to them.
How do you leverage social media to expand your music across so many streaming platforms? Because talk about where people can find your music.
Um, People can find my music in everywhere in all streaming platform: Apple Music, Spotify, Boom, Amazon, Pandora, Shazam, everywhere.
So it's Pandora, Shazam, Spotify. Just go ahead and name them so that way for people that's just watching and tuning in so they can look for your music.
You can find me
Where can
everywhere.
they download this album, this special deluxe album?
Yeah, you can actually find me in Apple Music, Spotify, Shazam, Amazon Music, Boom Play, Audio Mark. You can find me everywhere. Wherever you listen to your favorite artist, you can find me right there with them.
What do you have coming up for the rest of this year and then also next year? Are there any upcoming shows or concerts where fans can connect with you in person outside of social media?
Yeah, this time around, I just dropped my deluxe album, Eyes on the Boy, and my main focus right now is to, push and promote the album till, till the next song or to the next project is on the way.
You have a lot of beautiful videos shot in exotic beaches, crystal blue water. Talk about those locations and your creative involvement in shooting your visuals for your music.
So it's crazy to the point like I could produce my album and also like I'm hands on in everything, even in my
Yeah.
videos too. Like I kind of like I pitch in kinds of in terms of directing my videos too. So I'm basically hands on in everything that concerns my music. So talking about the locations and stuff, um, I don't really be having a specific location. Things just be my lifestyle is just it's just open. So things just be happening the way it be happening. I just every time I wake up I just give thanks to God.
So that song, Caro, where was that video shot?
Which one is it?
Caro.
Carol was shot. Carol was shot in Dominican Republic. Yeah.
It was a beautiful backdrop. You had beautiful ladies. You guys are on the beach. It was just beautiful. So that was shot in Dominican Republic.
Yes,
so you were a part of the creative process of directing the video, co-producing the song, writing the song. So you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
So talk about the business, the importance of the business side of the music industry, because I think a lot of up and coming artists just kind of get caught up in the hype with just like the girls, the flashiness. Talk about the importance of the hard work and understand your business and your craft.
I studied business management and accounting as well. So, I felt like before the music popped off or took off, I understood the business aspect of it. So me merging both of them, understanding the business aspect of business and understanding the music business, merging both of them together, oh, that's a top tier. So that's a really great tool right there.
So you're merging what you went to school for, your parents forced you, to make sure that your education was there.
Right.
And then combined with your artistry, combined with your career now,
Right.
as a global artist, as an Afrobeats artist. Since you're so involved in the creative process and every aspect of your music, what do you want to say to up and coming artists out there?
My advice to them will be, whatever you want to get yourself into, make sure you master it. The major key, master it. Not just don't just get into something because you see somebody getting into it, and don't try to copy somebody that maybe you might be fans in or something like that. Make sure you know what you want to get into. You study what you want to get into. You master what you want to get into, and trust me, you will definitely see result in whatever get yourself into.
That's a really great advice to give them, because entertainment, it entertains you, but it's called an entertainment business, right? So it's really important to make sure that you know the business, to make sure that you are involved every uh step of the process like you are. So I think that's really great, and I commend you for that.
Appreciate you.
I want to know, you just dropped this album. What else are you working on? What other projects you have? What's coming up? What should we be looking out for? You're dropping new videos, new visuals, like the fans, we want to know.
I have a couple of visuals for the project, and I'm still planning on shooting more. And after this project, I have a lot to unfold. I really feel like I've been silent for a little minute, and it's time to actually, show the world what Cliffbado is made of.
So you said you have some things that's coming up. Can you give us a little insight? Just give us a little sneak peek or a little hint of those projects that you have.
I mean, sure, why not? Once we're done with this segment of the album, I feel like my next single is already ready, and it's a banger. So shout out to Magneto. So Magneto, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. You know, he, that's gonna be the next project. You know, I featured Magneto on the project, so that's gonna be the next drop.
So, Cliffbado, when you're not in a studio writing music, recording music, directing your music video, what can we find you doing?
You know, sometimes you need that peace of mind, you need that rest. So if I'm not you know if I'm not in the studio or directing videos or stuff like that, I'm at home, either I'm reading or doing research, or sometimes I love to play my game. You know, that,
Which game?
actually I'm
So you said you like to play games. What type of game? Are you talking about
video games.
Are you talking about video games? Are you talking about what kind
I'm talking about video
Okay.
games. I'm talking about video games.
Right, you have to be specific because
Yeah.
people's minds will just wonder and
Hey, I don't know what type of games they be playing. I'll play video games.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that for us.
Appreciate you. Video games, only video games.
Okay,
That's the type of
sure.
game I play. I beg.
Okay, so you're researching, you're reading, you're playing games.
Yeah,
What else?
brainstorming on what my next move is gonna be. Because I'm the type of person, like, whatever I do, like, I plan ahead of time. If it's just on my head, I just have to, like, keep planning until I bring it to visual, to reality. So yeah.
Cliffbado, thank you so much for joining us. Eyes on the Boy is out now. Be sure to listen, stream, and download the music across all streaming platforms. You can also listen to it on Afrovibes Radio. This is Global Exchange Hub with Barbara Sam. Until next time.
I go push all your kilo for your back, kilo my. This your back,